For our film, we decided to use a 455 kiloton nuclear warhead as our nuke in the film. So this is a Trident warhead, which is in the current arsenal of the UK on its Trident submarines. So it's half a megaton, and it's about in the middle of the range of the Sarmat Russian missiles, which are dialable between 150 and 750 kilotons. So we decided to use a big nuke, half a megaton, on the UK, and this is what we modelled it on. So as you can see here, our film is shot in Gloucester, which you can see is on the bottom radius of this big grey circle here, and we detonated our nuke in Tewkesbury, which is about 11 miles north of Gloucester. And so in our first film in the anthology called Stranded, we're looking north, and we are seeing the nuke explode in the mushroom cloud. So Gloucester, at 11 miles away, is in the 1 psi blast zone, and everything in this big grey circle you see here is going to be subjected to the light blast wave. I say light blast wave. It's still going to smash every window and cause a load of roof damage, and people could get killed by flying debris, absolutely, and you'd certainly be subject to fallout if the wind was blowing in your direction. The orange circle you see in the centre here, that is the thermal radius, where you would get third-degree burns if you were in that radius, and the central grey zone here, that is the central blast zone at 20 psi, and in this range all buildings are said to collapse. So this is going to be your zone in which everything is flattened. So Gloucester at 11.5 miles away, as you'll see in the film, all the windows smash, fallout, etc. blows in. So that is as accurate as we could get it. So how many of these half megaton nukes would it take to actually flatten the whole of the UK? And remember, it's not the big grey zone, it's the central grey zone here we're talking about, and how many of those would we need, or would be needed, to flatten every building in the UK? And we've done a brief calculation on it, and it works out into hundreds, actually. And we also worked out that it would take 16,000 Hiroshimas to break every window in the UK. So, nukes are really big, but the planet's, much bigger. Anyway, so this is just a brief look at what would be required to flatten every building in the UK. Hundreds of half megaton Trident equivalent warheads. So you are actually likely to be in between one of these zones rather than in the central blast zone. You may be near a target area, and that could be unfortunate, but there's no surety that area is going to be targeted. You just don't know. And the chances are you're going to be in between here somewhere. You could be anywhere, and you could be subject to fallout. And you'd certainly hear every bang all across the UK for hundreds of miles. Those bangs would travel.